Chapter 2, Section 4, Reinforcement Learning. In this section, you will learn what reinforcement learning is and characteristics of data used in reinforcement learning, and how reinforcement learning differs from supervised learning and unsupervised learning. Reinforcement learning is a method in which a subject called an agent learns to choose actions in a given environment to maximize the resulting reward. The agent interacts with the environment and through trial and error learns which actions produce the best results. For example, in developing a self-driving car, the car is an agent and interacts with the environment such as road conditions and traffic rules. As an agent, the car learns how to drive most safely and efficiently. The reward is driving performance, which is determined by the safety and efficiency of driving. For example, the reward is quantified by criteria such as whether the car avoided a collision and reached its destination within the scheduled time. This reward value provides feedback, and the car, as an agent, learns through trial and error what kind of driving is safest and most efficient. This allows the car to drive more safely and efficiently. In reinforcement learning, models learn not from labeled or unlabeled data, but rather from the experience obtained by the agent as it interacts with its environment. Specifically, the agent chooses an action in one state and receives a reward in the next state from the environment as a result. This sequence of experiences, state, action, reward, and next state, is iteratively learned to find the optimal action strategy, called policy. The characteristics of data in reinforcement learning are as follows. State, information about the situation or environment in which the agent is currently located. Action, the choices the agent can make in this state. Reward, the feedback the agent receives from the environment as a result of its actions. Next state, the new state after the action. Based on these experiences, the agent learns the optimal behavior to maximize the reward. As we have seen, including reinforcement learning, there are three machine learning types. Let's see the differences among these machine learning types. First, let's look at the differences between supervised learning and reinforcement learning. The difference between supervised learning and reinforcement learning is that supervised learning learns known correct answers using labeled data, whereas reinforcement learning learns optimal behavior by trial and error based on feedback called rewards. Let's clarify the difference between labels and rewards. A label is a correct answer that corresponds to the input data. In supervised learning, machine learning models use these labeled data to learn the relationship between inputs and the outputs. Here, the training data already has a well-defined what is the correct answer, and the model is trained to reproduce that correct answer. The reward in reinforcement learning, on the other hand, is the feedback the agent receives after choosing an action in the environment. This feedback is not a correct answer, but an evaluation of how successful the behavior was. The agent does not know which behavior is optimal at the beginning, but instead learns by selecting the behavior and observing the results. Therefore, trial and error is important in reinforcement learning, which requires a process to find the optimal strategy or course of action. Next, let's focus on the differences between unsupervised learning and reinforcement learning. Unsupervised learning aims to discover unknown patterns and structures in the data. Reinforcement learning, on the other hand, aims to help agents learn optimal courses of action through interaction with their environment. In other words, reinforcement learning is used to learn strategies and behaviors to accomplish specific tasks. Models in unsupervised learning perform grouping and feature extraction based on information such as which data points are similar and which variables are important. In this process, the model does not receive direct feedback. It concentrates on automatically finding patterns in the data. In reinforcement learning, on the other hand, the agent tries out different behaviors in continuous interaction with the environment and uses the rewards obtained as feedback through trial and error. In other words, models in unsupervised learning only discover patterns and structures from the data itself and are never evaluated as good or bad. In reinforcement learning, on the other hand, the reward is an evaluation of the goodness or badness of the actions chosen by the agent, which is the basis for the agent's learning. We have seen the characteristics and differences between supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. Each technique is used for different purposes and situations. Supervised learning is a technique for training models and making predictions based on known correct answers and includes methods such as classification and regression. Unsupervised learning is a method for understanding data by discovering patterns and structures in the data and includes clustering and dimensionality reduction. Reinforcement learning is a method in which an agent learns optimal behavior by trial and error while interacting with its environment. Each method provides solutions to different types of problems and is useful in various real-world applications. Which method is appropriate depends on the nature of the data and the problem to be solved. So, it is important to understand the characteristics of each technique and use them appropriately. Thank you for watching. Please thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.